Hey everybody, welcome back to your weekly Cow's Opinion, where I, the Cow, give you my thoughts on all of the gaming news, rants, surprises, shocking things, and everything else that's happened in the world of gaming. Please remember that this is a Cow's Opinion, and it doesn't matter, because it's a moo point. As you know, at the very beginning of this week, we had a pretty big special edition because Grand Theft Auto 6 leaked. And I'm not talking confirmed, because we'd already known that it was confirmed. That was going for a Bonnie and Clyde. One of the playable characters was going to be a woman for the first time. And that some people are concerned because they say they want to tone it down and make it more PC. Grand Theft Auto was not really made to be PC. And also, that's the kind of stuff that they said about the relaunch of Saints Row. And it's not going that well. It might still turn a profit, but we'll have to wait and see. But I don't want to talk about that because I want to talk about something a little sideways. While we're talking about leaks, big news happened today, September 20th, which is a YouTuber confessed to being the industry leaker, The Real Insider. So Dan Allen Gaming, thank you to Ethan Gotch of Kotaku for the article, to reference, turned out to be run by a YouTuber, Dan Allen Gaming. Now, The Real Insider, if you don't know, was a Twitter account, which is, I've tried to bring it up, but it's gone now. It's been deleted. Where somebody who was thought to be a major industry insider would tweet out screenshots or confirm games weeks or maybe even a month or two in advance, or when stuff was going to be playable, what was going to be at the next big gaming convention, what remake was being considered at what companies. And for the longest time, everyone thought that this is some high-level executive at one of the major publishing studios. This is one of the biggest game journalists in the area, because who's just really working his sources. Because there was just no possible. This guy would go across freaking gaming lines. It didn't matter if it was one of the big third parties or Nintendo or PlayStation or Xbox. He would be right on the money a ton of times. And in fact, this article referenced the account had many convinced in the scene it was the real deal after accurately teasing which new Assassin's Creed games would be revealed at the 2022 Ubisoft Gaming Showcase. But Allen was simply linking embargoed, privileged information he received as an influencer. I'm sorry to everyone for my actions, he wrote on Twitter before deleting both his gaming account and The Real Insider. So Allen is not like a huge... He's a lot bigger than the Cow. Let's not try to be mean to him. But he has 189 subscribers, and he posts guides, interviews, playthroughs, all kinds of stuff. No one thought he was going to be the leaker until he accidentally responded to someone asking The Real Insider a question on Twitter as Dan Allen Gaming. Oh my god. I'd forgotten that part. And after that, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier combed through past tweets from both accounts and discovered all of the overlap. Now, the overlap was not too big because as a YouTube gamer, he was probably already covering a lot of the same stuff that The Real Insider is. And you didn't have to speculate because Allen admitted it shortly after and posted the following apology. I'm sorry to everyone for my actions. I'm ashamed and disappointed in myself. So the article goes on to talk about the difference between finding the information and breaking embargoes or non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. Basically, those are agreements that you sign, sometimes legally binding, sometimes not, where you are given preview gameplays, videos, interview stuff, but you say, hey, I know I can't talk about anything until, say, October 1st, and I can't post anything on YouTube until October 11th, and the game comes out October 13th. This is just me plucking dates out of the air, but that's what a lot of the things do. Companies like to have YouTubers and game journalists and other people ready for big releases. So if they have, and YouTubers, have put in a lot of hours if their channel is the main thing. So it's helpful to get them the information early so they can make a really cool video, tweet, post, whatever, and then just schedule it to go off on the day that the company is asking them to start talking about it. It builds buzz, it gets clout for the people who are sending the tweets and the videos, and everybody wins. And he signed NDAs. I don't know how much legal trouble this guy is going to be in. I don't know enough about NDAs, but the fact that you're signing paperwork makes me think that there may be possibly legal liability. Now, that doesn't mean any of the YouTubers' companies that he worked with are going to necessarily press charges, even if they could, because they may not want to worry about the other YouTubers saying, oh my god, are they coming after me? But this is a serious thing. This is coming right off the heels of the Grand Theft Auto 6 hack, where privileged information was, I know it's a very different circumstance, but the end result is the same. Very privileged, sensitive information was given when it should not have been. So his biggest claim to fame was the Ubisoft leak, teasing the Japan open-world RPG called Project Red, and several other Assassin's Creed days, 4 days before the showcase, and before they were reported on by Tryhard Guides and Bloomberg. This guy scooped Bloomberg. It's pretty damn big. As it was pointed out, that was the same day Ubisoft briefed press on the showcase, which Kotaku did not participate, but more often, however, the account teased upcoming things like a hands-on preview for Forspoken, excuse me. And it recently turned into one of the fixtures of the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, a popular watering hole for fans to speculate about upcoming releases based on industry reports and more commonly random tweets. So people don't like, and it goes on to talk about how, there was the massive Grand Theft Auto 6 leak and Nintendo Direct where games that were rumored failed to materialize, which I know that disappoints some people when you really want to see a game on the Nintendo Direct, but I'm kind of glad because it proves that at least Nintendo has decent security. It spurred a renewed debate about the value and ethics of leaking gaming industry secrets, which could run the gamut from when the next fallout would take place to whether a studio has been mistreating its employees. People don't like the rumor mongering, and people do not like arranging these huge PR campaigns to help sell a game that a lot of passionate people worked on, and then one nut bunny decides to just get their own 5 seconds of fame out of this and ruins it for everybody because you've just blown the surprise. When, a lot of times they want to have an unannounced YouTube video hit and, oh my god, it's the game I've really been wanting. But that goes away and it really hurts. And coincidentally, the first outlet to break the news about Real Insider was a new publication by an industry leader called What Else? Insider Gaming. While critical of the name, even invoked on the same page where sources are encouraged to become an insider, the site immediately broke after launching yesterday when too many people tried to visit it at once. F criticism, see you on the inside, said one apparent fan. Now, there's been an update, actually less than 40 minutes ago based on the time zone difference. Alan did not return to Twitter, but he posted a 5-minute apology video on his YouTube. He apologizes again. He mentioned things like his Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid remakes were not NDAs because that was all lies. And that the tease of God of War Ragnarok, which was proven accurate, was purely based on Kratos' voice actor Christopher Judge retweeting the stream link prior to the showcase. I've lost industry friends, I've lost relationships, personal, business-wise opportunities. All of you know that 5 seconds of fame and I take full responsibility, Alan says. All the hate I've received on Twitter, it's all just, but I just had to delete it. Because I've never experienced that barrage of hate before. And again, totally justified, but I just had to step away from that because I'm just, mentally it's not great to see all those things about you being put out there and I haven't experienced that before. Did you not? He rambles on a little. You think that the guy would have taken the time to just make a script and read it, but... So, this first video, portion of our weekly video, I think that I don't think this guy is a terrible person, but I think he did a lot of terrible things. It sucks that a lot of hard people trusted him with privileged information and tried to make a relationship where he got everything out of it and they got screwed. That's not cool. I know that there were probably some people who had their big announcements and stuff ruined. I as somebody who's a small YouTuber, doesn't get preview builds of games, doesn't get a lot of, doesn't get any feedback from the industry that he loves, except for when he's retweeted by a couple of the indie gamers that he likes, or gaming companies that he likes, or gets replied to by a dev on Discord or Steam forums because I'm asking legitimate questions, I really hate to see this because, this is going to hurt all other YouTubers. People are going to wonder, is this next YouTuber I'm going to take on a chance on? Are they going to screw me like Dan Allen Gaming? I don't think this is going to kill him. He only has 189 subscribers, but he will most likely be able to survive this after he takes some time. And maybe, for better or worse, maybe we're going to be... So basically, he's a scumbag. I wouldn't go that far. Dishonest and untrustworthy, sure. Still, it's hard to feel any sympathy for the companies he broke his legal agreements with. Ubisoft and their 67 new AC games can not safe for work right off. And that's kind of the polarity that we're seeing right now. Is that people are like, well, they're just big... And they are big gaming companies that, it's what Ubisoft has been doing lately, what Blizzard and Activision have been doing lately, what EA has been doing for a long time, and what Sony has been doing lately, what Microsoft has been doing. It's hard to feel sympathy for these big, massive companies. But it doesn't change the fact that this guy broke NDAs and betrayed a lot of people for, I don't know, just a self-satisfaction, maybe getting himself off slightly. I don't think that this Twitter account actually was made for profit, which I would still disagree with, but I understand. I don't think he was selling like merch or anything major off of it. I think he literally just like, I know stuff that you don't, and I'm going to tell you, even though I promise not to. That's just not a very good thing to do. It sucks. I don't know if we ever see Dan again. If I had to guess, probably will. But I would also not be surprised if a lot of other YouTubers and a lot of other game industry executives are like, no, you're blacklisted now. I can't trust you, man. If I trust you now after we know what you've done, then he could still have a YouTube channel because nothing's stopping him from posting guides and playthroughs. The interviews with voice actors might be a little hard to do now, but we are going to move on to the next story. Make sure to comment down below, guys, after you've liked and subscribed, because the algorithm is a thing. But make sure you comment down below. Do you think Dan was justified in releasing all this information and it's just the way the business works? Or are you just like, man, I hope that somebody presses charges against him, even if it's just a slap on the wrist, because he did break the law and he did hurt a lot of people. But we are moving on to the next segment. For our next story today, we go to Video Games Chronicle, excuse me, by Mr. Tom Ivan, where Embracer CEO is not exactly happy, but not mad, just disappointed by what has happened to Saints Row, and they're not commenting on the future of the franchise as of yet. So, if you don't know, Embracer Group is a massive video game conglomerate that is actually buying up a lot of stuff. They are the ones that bought all of the Western studios and IPs that Square Enix decided to get rid of for only $300 million. It's really terrible. The Embracer Group in 5 years, I'm guessing, will make that much money off of just a fraction of them easily. Because I feel like the problem is that the Square Enix was like trying to tell them what to make instead of just letting them make Western games. It's also kind of the complaint that people have been having about Square Enix is that they're embracing crypto and NFTs and trying to make Final Fantasy more Call of Duty. Like, I'm not trying to say it's not fun, but people still like, but can I have Final Fantasy? Can I have my strategy games, my JRPGs too, please? I want this is still, but I want that. It's really complicated. It's one of the reasons why I'm so happy that we're getting remakes of things like Tactics Ogre this November. It's going to be on the channel. But we are going to look at Embracer Group today because their CEO, Lars Wingfors, I apologize if I have your name wrong, but that is a cool name, discuss the future, or possibly no future, of Saints Row. Now, related, that is a 2 out of 5 stars on this website, and that's about par from the course. As the article suggests, these guys called it a buggy, dull mess, and it currently has scores of 62 to 66 on Metacritic. And it's not really moving from that Saints Row 5, or just the Saints Row, as this reboot has been called, it's not really going to probably get any higher. So speaking during their AGM, the CEO claimed the game has been very polarizing. Now, it's still early in the title's life cycle, and he said he remains confident in his pre-release forecast that the title would see a return on investment, but the longer-term prospects for the franchise are unclear. Before we move on, multiple articles have stated that they think that this game needs to make about $2 billion to break even. Now, currently, a few weeks ago, they were estimating that Saints Row may or may not make that amount by April of 2023. Now, with the game being so polarizing, so low reviewed, maybe it won't. Now, I don't want to just pound on people and make fun of them because I know people worked really hard on this game. I don't like it when people mock my videos or my other projects that I do. So I'm not trying to be mean to them, but it wasn't good. We'll get into it. Personally, I hope for a greater reception to the game, he said. It's been very polarizing. There are a lot of things that could be said in detail around it, but I'm with one hand happy to see lots of gamers and fans happy. At the same time, I'm a bit sad to also see fans not happy, so it's difficult. I think we need to wait for the quarterly report in November to have more details. We're still fairly early in our release window and still collecting data. There's also bug fixing and more content coming. Let's look at that a little bit deeper for a second. So, there were probably 3 main issues with Saints Row 5. The first, the plot was terrible. This is not a character. This is the default, you can choose male, female, and then you customize them like in every other Saints Row. And then this dude, and this girl were the 4 of them form like the new Saints Row crew. It takes place in a completely different universe. To my knowledge, it does not at all reference the previous 4 games. If you played and enjoyed the previous 4 games, you understand how weird that would be based on how they ended it. But the plot of the game is that they can't get ahead because of student debt. So they turn to a life of crime. And it's very, I've watched a lot of reviews, I've watched some gameplay, and I can just say, the way they chose to do this is like, let's make it very one-sided politically, but they didn't bother to add any depth. They didn't bother to add any balance to that either. They didn't even bother to make it good. Let me tell you something. These 4 kids see themselves as the victims of society throughout the entire game, which that's not a very compelling thing. In Saints Row, you're supposed to be a gang. You're supposed to be committing crimes. But these guys are like, well, we have student debt. We got to do this to pay it off. But once they get more than enough money to do that, they just keep committing crimes. And they never actually turn. They think that it's fine. It doesn't compute in their heads. It's so weird that they keep saying, we're the good guys. We're the ones that are we're doing this for us and for other people who need us. But then there's missions, like there's one mission where I believe this dude wants the equivalent of a Happy Meal toy. So your character takes them, and through the course of the mission, you murder 50 people to get your Happy Meal toy. But based on how the characters keep talking and presenting themselves, that's not the type of thing that they would. It's definitely a Saints Row mission. Somebody made me mad, and I want to go steal something that I want. But the 4 of them never really give you any motivation or reason to believe that they would be doing this or be good at doing this. They do some of the stupidest things. There's too many videos on YouTube that just like Saints Row stupidity that you can look up. But my God, the best thing I can think of to say is that this game's story looks and sounds and is cast like a terrible CW show that's not even going to get to the end of its 2nd season. It is try-hard, cringy, and dumb. You start with all 4 of the people together, and you already decided that your student debt means you have to turn to a life of crime. You never get into the backstory of any of the 4 of them, including yourself. You don't get to know them better. You don't get to care about them. It's a terrible story. Now, let's go ahead and set that aside, that first reason aside, because I understand that, again, it gets a little preachy on the political side, and if you're not If you're center or right, you might not like it very much, which is why he called it very polarizing. There's still a couple of other problems, which is problem number 2. Referencing back here, a buggy mess. And dull is number 3. We'll get to that. The game has so many bugs, I feel like it needed minimum 6 to 8 months back in the oven before it was fully baked. Unexcusable game-breaking bugs. Almost every single reviewer references them. I don't understand why this game was released in that state. It's enemies will spawn outside of combat zones to where if you try to go get them, you fail the mission. People just won't spawn quest markers. It's supposed to be their equivalent of Grand Theft Auto, but the busiest streets in St. Row have fewer cars and people and vehicles and action than the most empty areas of the last Grand Theft Auto. The northern part of the map in Grand Theft Auto's huge map is supposed to be like, for dune buggies and a forest and hiking trails, and it's still got more people and cars and trucks and stuff there than the busiest streets in Saints Row, because Saints Row can't do that in this game. And I don't know why. I don't know why they released it, which brings us to the third and final thing. The game is just dull. It's literally copying and pasting what they've always done without a compelling story, without enough things to do in the world, without a reason to grind and do all this stuff. It's just not, it doesn't make you want to pick up and play. You're like, oh, well, I don't really want to teach this guy to shoot a gun. I don't really care what her techno hacker speak that she's trying too hard is. I don't understand why this dude won't put on a shirt, and then you look at your main character like, I don't understand what the hell the main character's even doing here. Because they're all suddenly friends forever, and it never goes into the backstory. The game is dull, buggy, and terribly written. It's just not good. On the financial side, I'm confident we will make money on the investment. Would it have been as great an investment as we've seen in other games? Not very likely, but we will make money. That's a very good starting point, at least. He was then asked if the reception to the game has changed Embracer's longer-term view for the franchise in any way. Obviously, you want every installment of any IP to be greater than the last. And what you do is, this is quite a process to evaluate your position, the outcome, and there are hundreds of people engaged in this game within the group, and so I have a great deal of trust in these people. I'm sure they will recommend okay. And then during Embracer's AGM, Gearbox says there's going to be more Tiny Tina's Wonderland because the game shattered expectations, which is really nice. But this is obviously him. This is corporate speak for, we thought we were going to tap into like some political stuff and get a lot of hype and buzz. And maybe that would have worked. The first part is not, the more left-leaning politics are not a bad thing necessarily in your game. You can write and execute that well, and they can have challenges and setbacks, and they can realize how to be better people and what they're actually contributing and speaking and fighting for. You can do all of that. It's possible. It's not as easy as going in the middle, but it's possible. I've seen it on left and right wing games before. But you can't do it when your game is a buggy, unplayable piece of garbage. And you can't do it when you're like, oh, it plays and looks and sounds like 20 years ago. And that's not... if I wanted a game that played like it was 20 years ago, I'd play retro. It's very easy now to do on your Steam and your Nintendo Switch and all of your different market fronts and storefronts. So, look, again, I don't want to sit here and say Volition is terrible and Deep Silver is garbage, because I don't. I know for a fact that probably a couple hundred people between these two companies worked very, very hard on Saints Row. I don't feel like they just said, oh, let's just crud out whatever the hell we can think of. I don't want to sit here and bash them for it. But I feel like what might have happened is that they had an unrealistic target. They didn't have enough time to quality assurance and play test and debug. And it's possible that some suit or lawyer or accountant or somebody in charge at some point said, let's do this story. Because that's what the kids want. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. And you can see it by the fact that instead of being huge, this game just kind of floundered and flopped and has been made fun of constantly. And the warning signs were there on the first trailer. It's like, this looks like a bad CW show. We keep going back to that because there's a reason. Look, I've loved Arrowverse on CW, and there's some other shows I like, but for the most part, when you say it's a bad CW show, you mean it's badly written. They keep trying to insert young teen or young adolescent drama, and they flounder when they deal with topics and politics and anything else. It's poorly done. That's what I mean. And the bad thing is that Saints Row isn't supposed to even look like the way number 5 looks. It looks like a bad Grand Theft Auto ripoff. But Saints Row was supposed to be over the top and, action movie. And look, we're not taking ourselves seriously, so you're going to go to hell and you're going to fight aliens, or you're going to jump out of a plane and you're going to do this and do that. And then they went back and they grounded it in this, and it was less Fast and Furious or less Jason Statham action movie and more just, made for TV movie. I'm sorry to say it. So I hope that they will figure this out, because this, I know some people are playing it, and if you like it, that's okay. It's your money, it's your time. You can play whatever you want. I'm not trying to say you're stupid or anything like that. But overall, this is just not what the gaming community wanted, and the warning signs were there based on trailer reaction, and not only did they not try to fix anything, I don't think they had the time or money to do so based on how buggy this piece of garbage is. So, we're moving on to the next story. This is just, unfortunate. Hopefully that's not the end of Saints Row. Maybe you just need to get somebody from 3 and 4, which was the high point of the series, back in charge. And, give us actually compelling characters and stories and stuff. But we'll see. Moving on. And in our last story for the week, you may have remembered that we went over the hack behind GTA 6, and that it was suspected to be a teenager in the UK. He was confessing about it, he had been deleting his profiles, and he has now been arrested and is almost certainly going to have to pay for this. The teenager was arrested as part of an investigation by the UK Cybercrime Unit by Zach Zerwin in Kotaku. Thank you so much for giving me an article I can use. Not you, Verizon. Go away. If you want to be on the Couch channel, you can sponsor this. So, London police have announced that they arrested a 17-year-old from Oxfordshire on Thursday. They are obviously not releasing his name because, like here in America, they don't release the names of minors even when they commit crimes. But it has been officially announced by the London police. And as previously reported, the arrest of the suspected 17-year-old GTA hacker by police is part of an investigation being conducted by both the FBI and the UK Cybercrime. The FBI because the company hacked is in America, and the UK Cybercrime because they were pretty sure the hacker lived in the UK. And the FBI was looking into the recent hacks at both Uber and Rockstar. Now, obviously, this guy is going to have a really bad time. It's believed that the teenage hacker was belonging to a hacker group called Lapsus, and the group of hackers is allegedly involved in digital intrusions at companies like Uber, Microsoft, Cisco, Samsung, Nvidia, and Okta. They first showed up in 2021, hacking Brazil's Ministry of Health, which is a weird flex, but okay. And it was thought that they were inactive, but then they hit Uber and Rockstar this year. As we know, the hack occurred and did a really terrible thing to the people working on Grand Theft Auto 6. It released very early footage of the game as well as the source code. It's my birthday. I'm so sorry, guys. I forgot to mute this. I'm so sorry about that. My sister from another mister is texting me happy birthday. She's really sweet. I like her. So that's why I'm not going to be mad. But, hey, like I said, it's the cow's birthday. He's doing all this recording. So, I forgot my track. This is why I'm not a professional yet. They released GTA 6 footage, and they showed a ton of unfinished stuff and the source code. If you don't know what the source code is, it's literally the stuff that makes it to where it's harder to hack and cheat online, and we know that GTA 6 is almost certainly going to have an online component. So the fact that they're doing this means that they've probably added at least another year to the development, because now they have to undo and redo and buff up that source code to prevent people from doing it. The footage is confirming previous reports and rumors that would be set in Vice City, which was a cool place, and would star two different characters as a Bonnie and Clyde-like criminal couple, which means that, again, it has been confirmed that GTA 6 will have a player character be female for the first time. Some people are reading it into as well, they don't trust it to be only a female character because you're being both a guy and a girl, but honestly, I think that's more to do with the fact that people just really like GTA 5's trio of playable main characters and how you could switch, and they had different storylines and personalities and stuff. So I think that they just really liked it. They released a ton of video on this. I am not showing any of it, even though I can, because that's a good way to get not demonetized, but just struck down, and my channel can't take that. So Rockstar has confirmed about the hack, and it's not only going to slow production on the game, and that it will not be released officially or revealed officially until later. So they're not showing you anything. Now, the only good thing that has happened, besides this jerkbag getting arrested, because you're ruining people's livelihood and jobs, and you're making millions of players wait an extra year for fun now. But the best thing that happened after this is something happened on Twitter to where game companies on really popular games began posting their own alpha footage because people were complaining, oh my god, GTA 6 looks so bad. Yeah, it's not done. But a lot of other developers and publishers said, hey, you know what? That game you love from this year? Here's what it looks like. And, Coat of the Lamb, was one of the best ones. And it showed literally just these stagnant little, paper cutout people moving from place to place. And then it showed you what it looks like finished. And it was really cool. So it's nice to see the industry coming together for that. And that is your news for the week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do like the views that these news shows are getting. I like talking about lots of different stuff. And I do apologize that I was doing this on my birthday. I forgot to mute my phone because it keeps going off. A lot of people been texting and saying happy birthday to me, which makes me feel nice. I'm kind of a lazy home person, and I always wonder, does anybody actually care? But people care. So, guys, again, thank you. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button. Tell me if you have an opinion on any of the stories that you have seen today. And you know what? Why not just let me know what kind of games we got some games coming. In November, we have Tactics Ogre. In January, we have the new Fire Emblem. In February, we have Octopath Traveler 2. I don't know if it's possible for me to play all those games at the same time, and I want to. Octopath Traveler, I want to show you guys this. Shout out to Bao, my good friend and fellow Super Robot Wars fan, who pointed this out. It's already on Steam. How cool is that? I love it so much. Now, unfortunately, my man Bao got it there was maybe some kind of early posting error or something where it was only on for $29.99 locally. It's gone back to $60, so that sucks for me. But oh well, it looks so much better. It looks so good. I am very ready to get to go on. It looks like a slightly more industrialized. I think it's in a I can't tell if it's in the same world yet or not, but it looks really good. I can't wait to do this. Look at that ship, man. Oh, it's so beautiful. But we will be seeing you guys next time. Thank you as always, and have a good weekend.